Arif!
What? Did someone call me?
Over here, Arif. I can sense that you are in need of SME financing.
Is the sound coming from here? How does it know I need SME financing? Am I dreaming?
Don't worry, I'm here to help you. Powered by CGC, I'm SME is Malaysia's first SME financing referral platform. No collateral, hassle-free, response within 2 working days. Go ahead, take out your phone.
Okay.
Log on to imsme.com.my and follow these steps. Step 1. Key in financing requirements. Step 2. Share your business details. Step 3. Register or log in. Step 4. Compare and choose. Your application has been submitted successfully. You'll hear from us in the next 2 working days.
No way! Just like that and it's done? Wow, so easy!
We're glad that I'm SME could help SMEs like Arif.
Everyone's talking about digitalization, build web store, advertise online, cost, time, so much to do.
Don't worry, Digi Business makes it stress-free for you. Zero digitalization cost with their connectivity plans.
Not to mention free training and technical support. It's so easy.
Zero headaches too.
Hello? Okay, let me just... Okay, I got it. Every day so many calls. My customer just love my voice.
Hey, just use their virtual office hotline lah. You can take your calls anywhere.
Digi Business means making business friendly. Not just for you, for your customer also.
Hello? Jason, MC again. You pass me Sam's later.
Why not you use their HR management app? It can help you to manage your staff matters and reduce paperwork too.
It's okay. I can go over to check on my sales also. Good time management.
The time you spend traveling, you can already set up shop online.
Yeah, I know. I can share my offers so much faster using digital advertising. I want to clone myself too, you know.
Get Digi Business to help. Then you can focus on growing your business.
So total will be 26 ringgit and 55 cents.
You should get their payment terminal solution too.
Grow your business the business-friendly way.
Driven by a vision to excel in the digital era, you are redefining the future of your organization. And Digi Business is advancing its industry-leading technology and solutions, built and designed to accelerate your business transformation. Together, let's revolutionize the operational landscape of the oil and gas industry. Transform the ports and logistics services with ultra connectivity, powering intelligent business operations. Advance the financial sector with next-gen banking services and secured unified communications. Reinvent the way of work for utilities providers, elevating service performance through smart grid infrastructure. As your trusted digital partner, we're committed to your visions. Together, let's create new possibilities and shape the future of the industry today.
Your journey with the SHIP campus begins here. There are countless opportunities to learn outside the classroom at the SHIP campus. Here at the Opera Theatre, learning is amplified in this great hall that holds over 470 students. Learn in the morning with a lecturer or catch a live performance at night, only at the Opera Theatre. Our 3 futuristic command centers or computer labs are designed with cool themes, such as the Pentagon, Mars Rover, and Millennium Falcon 2.0, and are fully equipped with the latest technology to help you gain access to new information and new ideas. The Francis Light Library is home to many informative books and resources that will expand your mind and your world. Choose between a quiet study area or kick back at our comfortable, relaxed study area. Just remember to keep your voice down. Right now, you're probably wondering where this ship has sailed to. Study with your friends in private or hold group discussions at Brighton Beach Boxes. Our theme study areas featuring some of the most iconic locations in the world. Relax and unwind with our amazing facilities. Get your tan on by the beach at our Bondi Beach interactive area. Shoot some pool at the Wembley or sing your heart out at The Voice. Do all this and more aboard the SHIP campus. Remember, studying isn't just about books and lectures, it's about spending time with friends and enjoying the best years of our lives. Peninsula Student Residences is our signature student accommodation, mere footsteps away from the campus. Campus life has never been so stylish and chic. Chill out with your friends at our designer student lounges inspired by famed world explorers and exotic locations. Oh, and if you're craving for a snack, head over to the Windjammer Cafe and take a stroll at the Sunset Deck. And the best part? No matter where your academic journey takes you, Peninsula College is your start to a fulfilling campus life and education excellence. Located inside an industrial park, you can work part-time while studying with our Jom Bekerja Sambil Belajar program, where you can gain real-life work experience and equip yourself to be an employment-ready graduate. Let your dreams set sail at the SHIP Campus Penang's iconic education and lifestyle campus. How can you apply?
Thousands of small businesses are struggling during these tough times.
Can our economy rebound from all of this?
Grandma, it's not working.
If one way doesn't work, try another way.
What it takes to go global. With a diverse range of sectors, let Moderator take you there. Take a step towards being export ready. Get equipped with the information and skills you'll need. We'll match you with buyers worldwide and help you build connections for you to be a global champion, offering world-class products and services. Get ready to set the standards and go further. Make a difference, because trade matters. The world awaits you. The time to export is now.
After 2 years difficult time of the pandemic, we start to see a lot of SMEs coming back.
Year on year, the quality of submissions improved vastly. It is clear that our SMEs are well ahead of the curve and are ready to take their place amongst public listed companies.
SOBA Award has been very instrumental in nurturing and growing our SMEs. This is one of the best platforms.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the SOBA LAB webinar with the theme of hashtag SOAR, Building Future Business Resilience through Technology, Partnerships, and Effective Cash Flow Management. Last year for SOBA 2021, we focused on the hashtag Save Our SMEs. We're supporting business survival and recovery as the anchor of our SOBA program. But moving forward to SOBA 2022, the idea is to optimistically encourage Malaysian businesses to focus on how to sustain one's business, to optimize with whatever resources in hand to accelerate their business growth with resilience while thriving in the post-pandemic world. Hence why hashtag SOAR or SOAR. Whether you're joining us via Zoom, Facebook, or YouTube, we'd like to thank you for joining us. My name is Myra Baiti and I will be your host for today. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Media Group is delighted to welcome the Credit Guarantee Corporation Malaysia, Berhad or CGC, DG PKT Logistics Group Sedan Berhad, and RHB Bank Berhad as our main sponsors, not forgetting Talent Corp Malaysia as our co-sponsors. And thank you so much. We are very excited to have all the heavyweights on board with us, and we hope that this great working partnership will continue for many years to come. A big thank you also to the official trade promotion partner, Matrade, our supporting partner, Bursa Malaysia Auditor BDO, and our official media partners, 988 and Surya. We are grateful for your expert advice, guidance, and support throughout the awards process. And not forgetting our strategic partners from the various business organizations and associations, we thank you so much for your time, commitment in building a knowledgeable workforce, a responsible community, and a progressive society. SOBA recognizes the important role of local businesses and what they play towards building our nation and encouraging businesses to achieve new milestones and to push the boundaries in achieving greater heights. And along that note, this year's SOBA LAB stands for Learn, Aspire and Build, and it is organized via a series of webinars addressing valuable business insights. That's right, today is not the first nor will it be the last SOBA LAB. But to learn more about the SOBA online application, you may scan the QR code on the top right of your screen all the way up there, or you can visit www.soba.my. We can kickstart the session today by addressing the topic of discussion, which is on building future business resilience through technology, partnerships, and effective cash flow management. And if you have any questions for our speakers, and we encourage questions, please, for Zoom viewers, you may post it in the Q&A box, and for viewers on Facebook and YouTube, you may post it in the comment section. Lastly, and most importantly, please remember to learn, aspire, and build. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the moderator of the session is Mr. Koong Lin Loong, the National Treasurer cum Chairman of SMEs Committee of the Associated Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Malaysia, also known as ACCCIM. Mr. Koong is a practicing auditor and licensed tax agent of Malaysia. He has been actively involved in various commerce and community services and is currently the board member cum chairman of Audit Committee of the SME Corporation Malaysia under the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives. Not only that, he's also a member of the Small Debt Resolution Committee of Credit Counselling and Debt Management Agency for Bank Negara Malaysia, as well as the ACCCIM representative to SST Technical Committee for the Royal Malaysian Customs Department. Mr. Koong has also actively been involved in various commerce and community services and is a regular speaker, moderator, and commentator for tax and SME forums. Did I also mention that he's an author of a number of taxation books? We're very happy to have him. So let's welcome Mr. Koong as well as our speakers, Puan Sharifah, Mr. Pang, and Mr. Sim for the panel discussion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, our MC this afternoon. I'm Koong Lin Loong over here, your moderator today, SOBA LAB. Good afternoon, everyone. Because today we are going to talk about building future business resilience through technology, partnership, effective cash flow management. In this session, we are pleased to inform you that we have invited three panel of distinguished guests to share their view, experience, and their knowledge in respect of this building future business resilience. First of all, we would like to have the first panelist, Mr. Koong Chek, the CFO of the PKD Logistic Group, with over 20 years of experience of corporate accounting, finance, and administrations. Pang also in charge of the managing the financial stability and accounting best practice for the group. I would like to invite introduce our second panelist, Mr. Chiew, head of the SME engagement RHB Bank Berhad. Mr. Sim is a head of this SME engagement, as I mentioned, RHB Bank Berhad for the 20 years in the SME banking, experience in Malaysia and abroad as well, China. He has successfully led the implementations of a number of SME digital solutions, including the market leading SME online financing. Last but not least, the third panelist, Ms. Sharifah Attashah Syed Ali, is a Vice President, Branch Sales Management Credit CGC Malaysia Berhad. Ms. Sharifah started his banking career in 1996. She has more than 20 years of the experience in the sales and operations and 6 years specializing in the micro, small and medium enterprises. We always call it SME segment. In the current portfolio, Sharifah is the head of branch sales management department, overseeing the daily operations of the 16 CGC branches nationwide. Let's welcome three of them. Yeah. Okay, as you can see, three of our panelists here from different background, which should give us, I think, their different perspective view of today's topic. Ladies and gentlemen, after almost, I think it's since March 2020, 2.5 years of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, business community and rakyat are gearing up to this recovery situation. As we know, we are transitioning into the endemic situation now on the 1st April 2022. However, as you all know, this is not a smooth path as we thought, because we are now facing the headwinds from the Russia-Ukraine war, and then the inflationary pressure, supply chain disruptions, and go on the labor market issue as well. Hence, I think our panelists will join me today to discuss how to build up this future business resilience, especially in this era. Today we have few pertinent issues to discuss. We want to talk about the technology, as I mentioned just now, partnership, and then effective cash flow management. Ladies and gentlemen, based on the ACCCIM survey that we have done, business community still facing the cash flow related issue, such as the decrease in the profit, rising costs, and so on. So let us go straight to this crucial matter, cash flow, because it is very crucial for the business resilience. After our reopening of the economy, wondering whether any business still facing the cash flow problems that were brought over from the MCO, as I mentioned, in the year 2020. How to reduce these cash flow disruptions that I mentioned just now? I would like to begin with the business sector. Mr. Pang, on this cash flow effective management at this juncture. So what is your view? Is it cash flow this that can build up this business resilience? Mr. Pang, please. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Koong, for the introductions. I think as you mentioned just now, I think cash flow actually is very important to the survival of a business. I come across this saying that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is eternity. So, from this phrase, you see how important is the cash flow. From the PKT experience, of course, then we survived through the COVID-19 pandemic, and of course now is the endemic. So I would like just to share a little bit, on our experience during the pandemic, because that is the toughest out of all, which then of course get us ready in today, for us to be able to actually continue grow and capture the market. So before, of course, I go back to the pandemic case. So generally speaking, in terms of cash flow management, I look at it from both internal and external factors. The internal one, of course, then one of the important part would be in terms of the working capital management control. So where does this come from? If you are the business owner or the finance-related person, if you're familiar, with the financial statement, so you have will notice that in terms of working capital, generally speaking, we are talking about our receivable and our inventory. These two this major portion, from our asset perspective. Basically, what I'm saying here is like these two aspects will be very important for them to monitor in order to ensure that the cash collections or the cash conversion, from these two factors being within your control, in fact, can be improved. That represent a cash flow inflow, to the business. So let's talk about a little bit on the receivable. Basically, that will actually tie it down to credit control. Because business probably will tend to focus a lot on the sales, and probably lack of in terms of monitoring the collection from all these steps. So a credit control, a good credit control policy will be essential to manage or to actually reduce the risk, of being this debt going to default, or more importantly, before even you started to grant the credit control, you will have then evaluated a reputable or credible customer that you work with. So those are the part that I would like the business owner to actually take a look on it, emphasize on it, rather than just focus on revenue or sales alone. Then when it comes to the second part, of course, then inventories, so a lot of times probably the business owner would think that, oh, okay, my business is very healthy, because then, I still have a lot of inventory, which then can be realized into cash in the future. But the problem is always the timing, when can it be realized? And of course, more importantly, we don't want to keep excess level of stock, so that then our working capital won't be tied down, because we need that working capital to actually keep the business running. So the ideal level of inventory keeping should be then practiced or monitor on a constant basis to make sure that the business is operate at an optimum level. So that mostly would be from the we call it the asset side. Okay, when yeah.
Okay, can I stop you from here, Mr. Pang? Yeah, before you elaborate further. You mentioned about receiver and inventory. I would like to ask the banker, Mr. Sim over here. You see, you mentioned about receiver is a credit control, and then you mentioned about inventory is a timing control. Then you mentioned one very important word, Mr. Pang. You say have to operate at optimum level. I'm wondering whether SME know what is the optimum level of this so-called the cash collection, all those things, because we would like to build a business resilient in this situation. In order to reduce the cash flow disruption, as a banker, SME from SME, Mr. Sim, how you look at this one? Yeah, how you give the advice to the SME?
Actually, right now, when you talk about inventory, with the with the increase of price of commodities and raw material, I think instead of reducing inventory, I think most of our SME probably would want to actually store up some of the raw materials in anticipation of increasing price of the raw material in the future, right? So I think it becomes more and more difficult, right, for SME to actually, optimize their inventory level at this juncture because of the volatility of the, raw material prices, as well as what we call the fluctuation in the currency. I think that there is a mix of, solutions that the bank can provide for the customer. For example, I think many SME are not very familiar with FX hedging, right? We do actually offer, a lot of, traditionally you would need to call a dealer to get the FX hedging. We now actually allow customer to perform it over our online banking live anytime, within their convenience. And for inventory, the banks actually provides a lot of facilities. And in fact, over the past 1 or 2 years, the bank has been, very, very generous in actually giving out loans to SME for them to be able to, stock up, for them to actually cater to their increase in business activity post recovery, right? So, in fact, a lot of customers can actually apply for the smaller one, apply remotely via online financing, or they can actually approach any of our RM, that actually when they requires bigger loans, right? So I think these are some of the solutions that the bank have at the moment, and the bank is very supportive in terms of the rates that we give to our customers, and we continue to do so. We are one of the largest funder of relief financing, right, for SMEs in the market, and just reach out to the bank.
So reach out to you. You say to in order to solve this problem, you mentioned to stock up this raw material, because to hedge against the price increase. I think to store up the material, you need a lot of funds. Need a lot of funds. Perhaps they can do some. You say you very generous, give out the loan. I think they should come to you then to provide all this loan to stock up the cost, the raw material, all those things. So, Sharifah, you have anything to add in respect of this cash flow before we go to the second issue?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Kong. I think it's very important, no matter that you are a bigger player in the bucket or you are small business or startup, it's very, very important to ensure that you have a healthy cash flow. Yeah, because I think during the pandemic, it actually give us a greater lesson compared to the rest of the natural disaster or whatsoever. I think pandemic is quite a long journey for all of us. Yeah, it's important to have a healthy cash flow because how we want to do that. The business owners, you need to prepare a cash flow statement, and to conduct a regular cash flow analysis is very, very powerful, I tell you. Yeah, okay. And then also I think the biggest issues for the business owners is how they can tackle the late payments. I think in this current situation, many of the business owners, facing these issues, they have a very limited cash, okay, to pay. So how to tackle? Maybe I can give some suggestion. Maybe you can offer early payment bonuses or an incentive. Yeah, ataupun maybe for the those who pay late, maybe you can charge the late payment fees, and also maybe you can look into the bookkeeping software, so to actually to see if there is a way to make payment easier for your customers, like for example like pay now button. So this is what actually normally we will educate our customers in CGC how to improve their cash flow better. Okay, and maybe also can think of about on the invoice financing, because I think this is also something in the market right now, where this method can also patching up gaps in cash flow by getting advances on unpaid invoices. So the business owners, you can get your payment early, so you no need to wait for 2 months or 3 months to get your payment. And of course, cash flow forecasting is also important lah, because you need to know what your future business will look like. This will make you plans in advance to ensure that you have enough cash flow remains positive. So that's actually the advice from my side. Thank you, Mr. Koong.
So, Sharifah, you mentioned a very important about cash flow statement. I think because as a human, you have a blood test to know whether healthy or not. The cash flow statement, in fact, will show you the short terms, medium terms, and the long terms. I think if you have some software, you can teach the SME how to keep the healthier cash flow. Especially you mentioned about invoice financing. I have heard a lot about virtual credit card, instead of physical credit card. They say virtual credit card financing, this sort of fintech. I think perhaps participants we should explore more in respect of this. We're talking about this fintech, all those things. When you mentioned about this software, I would like to come to the second issue, ladies and gentlemen, because at this pandemic era, we have learned something, and then there's one magic word. It come across and been mentioned a million times. That is digital transformations. I think all of us heard of this one. May I quote this? No business can stand the test of time without adapting to the change. That means you must change. If you don't change, someone will change you. As all of us mentioned in such. So is digital transformation a must for building this business resilient? And then how to do it? If you want to transform, do I need the capital, or how is it, Mr. Sim? Since you have successfully led the implementations of a number of SME digital solution, if I look at your profile, I saw this one. Can you give the participants a guiding light, in respect of this, how to do it, digital transformations? We cannot just say call about digital transformation without mentioning how, to do it. Yep, Mr. Sim. Mr. Sim, there is a frozen, is stuck over there.
Well, I guess the bank. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I mentioned was that business all around the world is transforming, and that also applies to the bank, right? The bank is also transforming in the way we provide services to our customers, and in the way for us to allow our customer to transact, right? So the bank is increasingly expanding its product suites to reduce the touch points, and to allow customer to perform transaction remotely, contactless, anytime, anywhere, fast and simple and seamless. Of course, besides the bank, Mr. Koong, you did mention that many business solutions are also emerging in the market, right? And I feel that sometimes it's too many, right, for customer to decide. This business solution, helps to improve operation efficiency, reducing the cost, create capacity for the business owner to actually focus to grow the business. I mean, example of this that the bank is, that has as part of the ecosystem would be, accounting software, HR solution, and also electronic point of sales solutions. I am of the view that business must be prepared, must first of all aware of all these solutions, and be prepared to embrace all these transformative solutions. And of course, if the customer find it hard to understand and to make choices, right? The good news is the bank like RHB offers a wide-ranging one-stop center for customer to get to know more about this solution, and and about the ecosystem that we have. And again, my advice to the SME is actually do reach out to us to help you to understand more.
You see, reach out to you, yes. I think for the financing part, we would like to hear more. Like I know Mr. Pang and the PKT logistic there. Now, we would like to hear more businesses, especially SME, talking about the building a business resilient nowadays. We cannot just do a normal businesses. Otherwise, you cannot stand for another so-called or pandemic or another round of the disruptions. So how to make it this digital transformations, or you call it automation or whatsoever, how you do it in the PKT logistic, for instance, Mr. Pang, can you quote some example or some guidance to the participants?
Okay. For PKT, PKT actually already almost 50 years of history since we started. So of course, being the SME, we also progressing, from a very manual kind of operation to now we somehow adopt some of the digitalization or automations in some of our business processes. I think, maybe take a very simple or most common, item would be signing of check, let's say. And, I think nowadays probably still quite a number of businesses still practicing signing of checks. But then I think, because of this pandemic, actually, it actually accelerate us, to adopt this, we call it digitalization by actually making payment via online banking, whereby then the banking's platform come into a very important role in supporting this. I mean, don't look at this as a very simple transaction, especially then you have reached a certain size, because then it involves a certain processes establishment, and then a clear role responsibility segregation, and then what the benefit of this bringing to us actually, of course, not to mention about a small cost saving in terms of the check issuance, but then more towards like a saving of time, and also enable this payment function, to be done anyway and anytime. So that actually helps out, in terms of a cost saving, because then you don't really have to actually get a dedicated probably admin exec or account exec, to issue check on a 24/7 kind of basis. So there is one of it. Of course, then in our operations, as you know, we are in the logistic industry. So one of our more routine kind of processes that happen in our custom brokerage department, and in order for us again, to actually contain the rising cost of the human resources, what happened here? We actually also adopt the robotic process automations program in our this declaration system. So basically, then this robot actually can help, in terms of process certain routine, repetitive jobs, that is currently being done by human. I would say that this one robot probably will equivalent to let's say 5 headcounts in our organization. So by having that, actually we also able to streamline our this cost of operation, and hence we can actually of course at the end reward our employees via this cost containment measurements. So these are the two means, I would say, the digitalization exercise they have done. Of course, furthermore, what happened here, we also diversify our this business revenue to online this what I call a segment, because then traditionally we actually all may use the offline segment to generate our revenue. So during this pandemic, I think somewhere around May 2020, we had the brainstorming exercise between all the management. So we actually came out with a vision to enable PKT Group to actually derive a 20% revenue online. Compared to against now, of course, we are still very little in terms of the achievement. So by having that, what happened here is like it also build a resilience in terms of the business, because then we will be more ready, if there were another pandemic come, whereby we still can conduct, our business online in that sense.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pang, for your insight in respect of your type of business and sector. Perhaps before I call on the Sharifah, see any thought of this one. You mentioned about issuance of check, all these things. I think a lot of business have been doing this. But I'm more interested in you mentioned about robotics to assist in your business, especially the logistic. Because we have discussed with the Bank Negara a couple of days ago. They say, who assists you in this expert? Can you highlight to the participant because robotic you cannot just simply install it, because it will have a lot of fund to be invested, So who assists you in this, let's say, consultancy in respect of this expertise? So how SME going to look for this expertise? Whether I need to transform digitalizations, or I need to do automations, or I need to do IR 4.0. So where do you get the expert?
Well, of course, the ultimate objective is for us to move to the IR 4.0. But before that, to get SME ready for this, they have to start from a very small step, Well, let's say a simple one, of course, then like what I mentioned just now, to actually computerize, certain of our processes. For things like accounting software, HR software, those are there for you to actually utilize, so that then you also can actually manage your costs well. And of course, to be able to do that, you will need the software vendor, to help you on that. Just to actually encourage the SME to tap into that. If you then aware that there is actually the SME digitalization, this what you call that grant that is being offered at this moment. I think there is the 5,000, for the SME to tap into, and not to forget a bigger sum that is under the smart automation grant. I think that is about matching grant of 1 million. So in fact, just to share with you, PKT actually is also taking advantage of that SAG in short form, a grant for our automation purpose. Because like what Mr. Koong said, it costs actually not a small sum to be able to do that, and it requires IT expertise to help you to actually understand your requirement, and of course develop it and deploy and test it in our current this working environment. So a simple answer to Mr. Koong's question would be, of course, we actually depend on the external IT expertise to work together with our internal IT department to actually come up with this solution.
That means if you don't have an internal IT department, you have to look for some external expertise in order to do these digitalizations or whatsoever automations. You mentioned a very important smart automation grant. So I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think the bank will offer to you some loan, and then the smart automation grant that I think is quite important, from either the MIDA or some agency, government agency. I think for this expertise, I have heard, because beforehand I discussed with Sharifah also, because CGC, a lot of people thought that they are giving out some guarantee. Actually, no, you have some expertise to advise them on this part. Do you?
Okay, yeah, Mr. Koong. Okay, through our in CGC, through our advisory workshop, actually, we are actually we guide our customers actually how to expand their business, how to involve in digital transformation. Actually, we invite our expertise, our partners also, to give to conduct a briefing, or also to open up actually their mind. Okay, what are the opportunities that they do have actually in order to to make sure they have growth in their business. So I think on that note also, Mr. Koong, for this transformation, what I can say from CGC point of view and from our own experience, during this point of time, SMEs, we need to switch from the traditional business environment to more hybrid business models is crucial right now. Not only you to maintain your current business, but of course it will ensure that you have you're able to expand and grow your business. That is number one. Number two also, okay, digital shift in accepting payment also very important right now. Okay, just now Mr. Sim also did mention about cashless payment, and not to forget the QR payment. QR payment also is I think is a very famous thing. All right, so these are the small things that our SMEs actually can try out, and be very sure, because we do actually guide our customers actually to expand their business through digital transformation. The last point that I would like to highlight here, other than what we invest to many technologies, but not to forget about to prioritize cybersecurity as part of the critical part of the digital transformation. Why I said this? If let's say we do investment, a lot of thing investment in technologies, but we forgot, okay, to invest also in terms of cybersecurity, it will also drag us to a greater loss, because this cybersecurity, cyber attacks things is a very dangerous, as this can expose the business confidential data, costly and time consuming to mediate. So maybe, for a business that maybe you are not thinking about the cybersecurities, maybe you need to start thinking of that, because a lot of scammers right now. So in order to, you can protect your business, at the same time you can protect your customers also as well. So that's actually another digital transformation things that we need to.
Mr. Koong, may I add to the
Sure,
point?
sure, Mr. Sim.
Yeah,
please.
May I add to the point of Mr. Pang and Sharifah? I think the bank, besides the bank offering various type of solution to help our customer in terms of payment, and enabling our customer to make payment, whether it's single payment, bulk payment, and also allowing access to a lot of clearings networks, and also facilitate straight-through processes for payment. We also enable through our online banking, right? Various modes of collection channels, right? And besides that, besides the bank own solution, we actually also provide similar solutions which will help the business in actually operationalize their business more efficiently and cost efficient. We actually partners with HR providers, accounting solution providers, as well as electronic points of sales. I feel that all this built within an ecosystem is not just working on silos, but it is actually integrated, right, within the banking ecosystem to enable our customer to enjoy a seamless and also fast and simple experience. So I believe the bank will also able to not just provide customer solutions that is relating just to payment and collections, but also other form of support to help the customer operate more efficiently and cost effective. Thank you.
Excellent. That means you are, as a banker, you don't only provide funds, you also give your customer, the SME, the advice, in terms of how to make it digitalizations to transform.
Yes.
Just now, Sharifah, you mentioned you have advisory workshops, all those things for the business, especially the SME. Do they need to pay for this workshop?
No, it's actually for all the workshop organized by CDC to our customers is actually free of charge, Mr. Koong. So we didn't charge anything actually. What we wanted to see is actually they grow. What we wanted to see.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's very important in terms of digitalizations. If you have any things want to add in respect of this one, please feel free. Because digitalization, automation is so important. As I have a note with me is a PayNet digital payment insight study 2022. Pre-pandemic, you see a lot of people using cash. Number one is using cash to pay. Number two is credit card. Then number three is e-payment services. Number four is the debit card. Number five is e-wallet. So since 2020, this pandemic, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, 2.5 years, the e-wallet becomes number one in Malaysia, and the e-payment services. In fact, the the credit card and debit card dropped to number 4 and number 5. I think it's so important. This one is talking about payments only. We yet to discuss a lot, as mentioned by Mr. Pang, and then you mentioned about logistic, how to go about it, the transformation digital. Because I think digital transformation is the norm now. But not all the business is suitable for digital transformations. Just like I always mentioned, the hair salon, you cannot get a robot. Like logistic, you can get a robot. You can't get a robot to cut your hair. After you cut your head without the hair. So I think Sharifah, you mentioned a lot about just now the workshop and then cyber security, all those things. Apart from Mr. Sim mentions the funding, I think in respect of digital transformation, it is indeed a strategy rolling out, a change plan across the organization. Especially, you need some change plan is what the human capital. I think without human capital, not only funding, I think human capital resources and development, you can't do anything. I understand CGC also involved in this sort of advisory, especially towards the SME. Ms. Sharifah, may I ask you something about the current workforce in the company? Do they need reskilling or upskilling? Do they need otherwise or looking for external talent? If we're looking for external talent, I don't think so. We have so much fun, You see, reskilling, upskilling, how are we going to do it?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Koong. I think when we talk about reskilling or upscaling, definitely what we need to recognize is the how to prioritize a continuous learning opportunities. We do have our internal talent. Maybe our internal talent is only limited to a specific job scope at this point of time. Maybe due to the growth of the business or the shift of the business from shift of the products or operations, or also the changes of business environment itself may require our own talent to be either to be upskill or reskilling. So what do we mean about upskilling? Upskilling is actually to teach our employee an advanced skill set relevance to the job specific duties, meaning that to allow them to improve in their current role. So for example, like in CGC, because before this, we actually engage with the bank. We provide the guarantees with the bank. Okay, before this, all done actually by manual. So then we shift into our system. So some of the talents, they may not be familiar using the system. So we need to give them some course of training for them to familiar. Even for example, like our risk department. Okay, before this, all of them, based is a book base. It's a book base. When we want to convert some of the methods into the system so that the system can process the application, through the system, no need for a manual intervention. So they need to have that kind of skills also, how to make the formula right into the system. So a training, we invite our vendors from outside to and coordinate together with our internal talent for them to learn about the new technologies so that they can also upskill their current talents or expertise. So that it will be on the upscaling side. How to reskill? Reskill is actually prepares your employee for an entirely new position, which is not related to their current job. So for example, I can give example for our own experience when we deal with our customers. Most of our customers, they are small and medium. They are micro and small, CGC customer, our direct financing customer. So before this, they are do their business in a traditional way. Traditional way. They do not know how to use the social media to advertise their products, their things. So that, through our developmental program, we introduce them how to familiar with the system. So this is also rescaling. Okay, we teach them. We teach not only we teach our own staff, but we are also actually teach our customers how to use the technologies to expand their business through FBs, through Instagram. So these are the things that I think most of the business owners we need to, other than we invest the monies in terms of the technology whatsoever, not to forget that the number one recruiting strategy is the retention. Yeah, the people, the staff is the asset of the companies. Yeah, so I think another thing that I would like to also to share with all of you is regards to how to start or choosing a program for this upscaling and rescaling. First thing that you need to learn what industry and knowledge your company needs. That's a very, very most important thing, so that you won't waste your money. So you actually invest to the right upscaling or rescaling programs. Number two, ask your employees what they want to learn. Okay, regular engagement is crucial. Okay, so that you can give the ideas, so that you can give ideas of what skills that they wanted to learn. Okay, and number three, show your commitment. Of course, walk the talk. Okay, as a leader or as the owner, okay, the continuous education start from the top down. So show to your team that you are dedicated to learning and growing alongside to them. So I think they will be with you. So that will be from my point of view, Mr. Koong. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sharifah. You have put the lengthy of the reskilling and upskilling. I think upskilling in the same parameter, you make it much more efficient. I think reskilling is you go beyond your existing parameter. So I always say E&E, not electrical and electronic. That means efficiency and effectiveness to make more profit. So just now you're very interesting. You say go and ask your employee, what do you want to learn? What happens to the employee say, I don't want to learn anything. So what I want to come to the business side, Mr. Pang. Yeah. You see, when you do your business resilience, I'm sure business resilience is to sail through. That's why you build a ship in the Penang. To sail through this pandemic. So just like you mentioned, you put a robotic, you have a lot of so-called software, all those things in your business. How can your employee cope with that? How do you reskill? We want to listen to you how to reskill and upskill.
Yeah. Yes, of course, employees is always a very important asset in a PKT organizations. Just to share a little bit that, actually PKT has an education's arm with us. We have a college, and of course, we have this, we call it peninsular skill company, whereby actually it targeted a certain segment, for this, be it a training, retraining, upskill, kind of a requirement. So how we started that, of course, then, at first, when we had this logistic, then, this human resource is always an issue, especially we talk about our warehouse personnel and this truck driver and this kind of thing. So we come to this idea that, maybe it's a good idea, for us to train for our own, and of course, to provide to the market as well. So that's where we started this education arm, whereby we start offering courses on logistics, and of course we start training the school leaver, a short-term course, probably 3 months, for them to equip with the skill to be able to work in the logistic environment. So of course then you can say that it's all started from an internal requirement and now become an external to serve an external environment as well. So that's where you just now you say that the ship campus which then located in Penang, is actually our signatures, buildings, that actually enable all these functions to be done. And not only that, because to make the what I say that a certain take an example, a truck driver job, we actually engage a graduate to undertake, for this job function by actually calling it a smart trucker program in our organization, whereby then they will undergo a systematic training with us, and they basically will run their own trial, to go undertake all the exam, qualify for all the requirement to be able to drive a truck. And then, after the 3 years program, then they can choose to be actually join us, at a managerial level, and of course, continue to actually train the upcoming driver, based on the experience that I have. So what I say here is like, not only we actually train a person for that matter, but then we also actually redefine how a truck driver is supposed to be in order to actually attract and retain talent within our organizations. So that is one of the example. And then furthermore, we also have this Jom Belajar Sambil Bekerja program that is actually offering to all our college students, whereby during the non-study hours, they can actually work in our warehouse to gain knowledge and of course to gain experience, for them to be well prepared, when they graduate and join be with us or other organizations, at a later part. So these are the few things that we do to actually retain our employees.
Yeah, thank you. We are discussing about the building up a business resilience. One of the main things just now we're talking about digital transformations. Then not only the fund, we need talent. The talent, that means that you need the human capital resources talent. That means skilling or upskilling. You mentioned you have an education arm, the courses, all those things, Mr. Pang. I'm just wondering, before you set up all those things, how you reskill or upskill a particular staff,
Yeah. Well, actually, just now of course, the smart trucker program, of course, is one of them. That is before even we have this education arm in place, whereby then we only focus on how do we actually retain our staff by having this what you call that enabling them, to actually look at a logistic job. It's not that low in terms of the perceptions, you see. So for them to come in, and then of course for us to actually offer all the relevant program for us to train them to be able to perform their jobs adequately. So to me, it's actually how we internally, reshape the individual positions, of the all the within the organizations, so that then we'll be able to actually employ and of course retain them. So it's actually very much a organization culture on how to be able to achieve that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think culture is quite important. Beside all these things, I would like to advise that make use of this HRDF fund also is a very crucial at this moment, So as you mentioned, Jom Belajar Sambil Bekerja, So I would like to switch to Mr. Sim. Yeah. What about you think about this point? As a banker, what is the point or any way you can help assist in this reskilling and upskilling?
Well, I mean, I think increasingly employees in this day and age, right, from different functional areas such as accounting, human resources, and marketing, right, are expected to also leverage on technologies and use of data, to make critical business decision. So, I mean, the bank partners with, a lot of, because coming from the perspective of the bank, it is important for the bank not only to see the SME business grow, but also to ensure that, they enjoy a continuous well-being beyond banking, right? So we brought in business partners, to help us to educate customer in the areas that, is needed, right? For example, in terms of, operations, managing their HR, their accounting, providing the right accounting solutions, to help them to, to do their job more efficiently. We also partners with, the ESG related kind of, partners like solar panels and so on, right? To provide our customers, alternative in terms of, energy intensive and labor intensive transitioning kind of solution. So these are some of the areas that the bank is actively working, not only among ourselves, but also with our partners. And I think one important point that I want to touch on is we are also cognizant of the fact that many budding entrepreneurs, right, are left out or left behind in this transformative era, right? Especially the lower income group that were deprived of knowledge and education for various reasons, like including lack of opportunity, right? So I think in this respect, IHB is also collaborating with, education institution to run an upskilling program targeting B40 micro entrepreneurs, for them to be more business prepared and having a better chance to succeed in their business, right? So these are some of the things that the bank is doing, for the SME and community at large.
Yeah, you're talking about partners with a lot of, let's say, sector or your business partnership, with the clients or whatsoever. I think we have discussed a lot about this reskilling, upskilling. It's not an easy thing to build up our this so-called business resilience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have discussed a lot. We have talked a lot about this as the beginning of these sessions about cash flow management, then adoptions of the technology, as you mentioned, the digital transformations. We also touched on the human capital resources as we just went on the reskilling, upskilling, all those things. So you notice all this come back to the original point. You got no money, no talk. That means you need money, the cash flow. So if let's say I'm thinking, let's say CGC can't help me. Let's say this RHB, the banker, can't help me. So just now, I think Mr. Sim talked a lot about partnership. So is it a partnership or a kind of JV? Is it an alternative way? Is the key to the above resilience? So Mr. Sim, how do you look at a partnership with others? To solve the issue that we mentioned just now.
I mean, the bank and our partners have, different expertise in the areas that they are in, right? So they of course they are expert in the areas they are in. So what the bank is doing is actually bringing the best, from everybody, to ensure that, the customer benefited, from all this, right? So I think that's the main purpose for partnership, right? It's not possible for the bank to actually, go into areas that we are not an expert with. But I think through partnership, we are being able to bring the best, of solutions, for the benefit of our customers. I think to put it simply, I think that is, the conclusion.
No, we don't talk about the partnership with the bank or those things. It's not that kind of partnerships. It means SME, how they seek for their partners, or kind of JV in order to build up their business resilience. Some things like that. What Mr. Pang, do you have any say about this?
Well, probably I looked at it from this aspect. I think just now I think earlier on we have started covering on one side of the cash flow. I think the other side actually probably will be a little bit relevant in terms of the partnership especially when it comes to your supplier, and and of course then your employees. I think this, of course, then not to forget on our bankers, because this will be on this another side of this aspect that we can actually improve on, so that then they can actually enhance the business resilience by actually improve the cash flow for the company. I think a very simple one, when you talk about supplier, you would then probably think that, for the obvious one, would be to negotiate on a better payment terms, or in fact, maybe a better credit limit, that will actually in turns give you flexibility in terms of your cash flow requirements. So that is one of the obvious side, that can enhance the business resilience. But and when it come to bank, of course, then bank can of course come in to support you in terms of any financing needs that you want. Of course, then not to forget probably some like smaller business, probably then bank. Uh, not only bank is the option, probably they can also look at some of the peer-to-peer funding or even crowdfunding to that matters, as an alternative, to the conventional way of obtaining a third-party fund. Not to forget, actually, I would like to touch a little bit on the employees. See, what happened here is employee can be also a very good business partner to the business. Of course, just now we mentioned about, the employee is a very important asset to the company. And not only that, during the pandemic, actually, when PKT also suffer in terms of the cash flow, our employee actually, well, not to say our employee, actually the company actually roll out the program. We call it a voluntary salary deferment exercise. That basically is a voluntary program whereby then we actually ask employee that earn above, I think, 4,000 above, to be able to actually defer, some of their salary for 6 months, and to be paid back at the end of this period. And of course, then to actually appreciate, their effort in doing this, the company actually pay them back, if I'm not wrong, a 5% interest for the portion that they agreed to defer. So that actually, how would I say that, is a very what I call it, unique program that we have, whereby actually the employee actually supportive of it, and then the company actually can conserve their cash flow, for to be get ready to face the uncertain future. And of course, then when the company turns around, then what happens is they reward back the employees, with a small token of appreciation, which then is the 5% interest, for that matter. So just now, all this actually then are also some of the ways that we can think of to actually build up the cash flow for the company, and of course, then will improve the business resilience as well.
Quite interesting. Just now, I think Mr. Sim at first mentions partnership. I think with the banker, how to access to the fund, if I'm not mistaken. Then you mentioned partnership. I think it's a good employee. Partnership. You implemented the voluntarily salary deferment programs. In order to sail through this difficult time, especially in the pandemic. All those things. So Sharifah, you have any talking point in respect of this partnership with, let's say, other businesses? You see, in order to build up this business resilience, because we cannot do anything or everything by ourselves alone. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Like famous says, two heads are better than one. Yeah, and then at this fast-paced environment, do it alone approach is not the best strategy anymore. So it's a partnership is very, very powerful nowadays. Yeah, I think that in CGC, okay, yes, all of us know that we are actually partnering with all the FIs actually in terms of supporting the FIs to giving out the financing to the customers. CGC acts as a guarantor. So we actually exercising our partner roles actually to support the SMEs through the FIs. On the other hand, also that is actually through the banks. What will be our partner strategy through our online platform? Okay, so this is where also I would like to introduce our IMSME platform, whereby actually we are partnering with all the FIs together with the P2P and also the capacity building agency in providing the financing or alternative financing or also advisory to the customers through online. So meaning that, because those days the customers, they need to go to the bank, but nowadays, they just can go through the website, okay, apply loan, and the respective banks will call them if let's say they cannot find a match. So okay, the P2P will come into the picture to support. If P2P also cannot support, the capacity building agency will come in. So that's the partnership concept. Yeah, so that will be in the our landscape, actually in our financial landscape. Okay, how about the business itself? In CGC, what we provide the customers is that for our existing customers, we have a series of workshop actually we do for our customers, in terms of giving them the advisory on part of the, for example, like digital marketing, okay, topics that cover like TikTok for business, build your website, free and easy, social media marketing. So this is one of the session that we give to customers. We actually are working closely with all the speakers, like for example like Grab, AirAsia, DG, Matrade, etc., actually to help the customers. Other than that, also, through our expanding, how we help them to access to new markets. Actually, we work with a bigger player, a business bigger player. For example, like how we want our small and our micro and small business to sell their product through a giant company. For example, like we partner with Maiden and discuss with them how we can bring these products, Malaysian products, to the market. Okay, so for the international, also we are actually partner with our agency like Matrade. We open wider opportunities for a cross-border market, meaning that we enable our SMEs to participate in international trade exhibition like Canton Fair and the Chinese Asian Expo in China. So I think this actually partnership concept is actually give a greater benefit to the company. Like you can bridging the gap in terms of expertise and knowledge. You can also earn a cost saving in terms of marketing, and also open up a new perspective, maybe, because currently you are only know what you're doing, but when you have a partner together with you, maybe you learn a new things you wouldn't know. Yeah, and also definitely it will open up a new business opportunities for you. So if let's say you do have opportunities to go under partner concept, do explore. It will give you a great benefit.
Very
Thank you.
interesting. Very interesting. You mentioned it means you say you assist the SME to partner with other bigger organizations for the mutual benefit. Open up the market, as you mentioned, open up more opportunity in this challenges period. I think it's a very good tip. In fact, to SME today, the main participant also open their eye. What are the benefit from our three panelists? I think we still have some time. I would like to follow suit this Mr. Pang just now mentions negotiations with the supplier and customer. Very interesting to build up the business resilience, because I think rather conventional way of doing business. That means such as to have a favorable terms with the payment strategy with your supplier and a customer in order to conserve our cash flow. Is it workable? Because just now Mr. Pang had mentioned a little bit, well, what if I ask Mr. Sim, do you think workable? Yeah, that means to negotiate with the supplier to build up this business resilience. Last but not least, this resort. Yeah.
So your question was to negotiate with the supplier to build
Yeah,
up
the
business
supplier or the
resilience.
customer, whosoever, in order to conserve our cash flow, because cash flow is so important. Yeah, to build up this business resilience. Yeah, is it workable?
I mean, it is always workable if we always open ourselves up, for communication with both our supplier and of course customer as well, understanding their situation and perhaps come up with a structure that is mutually beneficial, right? And maybe terms that are mutually beneficial, right? I think so long as businesses are open, for negotiation and being reasonable, I don't see that there's any issue in that. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we should negotiate more, in order to conserve our cash flow, So I think before we go to some questions in the chat box, Mr. Pang and Sharifah, do you have anything to say in respect of this conventional method, try to delay payment with your some supplier or whatsoever customer?
Mr. Koh, maybe coming from the bank perspective, right? We are also creditors, lah, right?
Yes.
So we do also have experience whereby our customer, right, are facing financial difficulties, but maybe the business is actually temporarily affected, by certain external situation, right? So I mean, even during the pandemic, the bank has been quite proactively reach out to our customer to offer repayment assistance, right? In very easy way, customer can opt in or opt out of a repayment assistance. And we continuously to engage our customer, which is still, struggling, right? So I think this is coming from the bank. I mean, the bank is doing it. I don't see that it is a problem also, like, for businesses.
Yeah, I almost forgot about it. That means I can go to the bank for repayment assistance. If you owe few banks, you can even go to small debt resolutions committee in the bank, the Kara AKBK, to seek for assistance. I think this is a good way to build up our cash flow. So, Mr. Pang and Sharifah, before we go to the chat box questions, do you have anything to add in respect of this one?
Mr. Kong, maybe I add a little bit. You see, yes, of course. Then, or be it the receivable, I mean your customer or a supplier. So probably it will happen at a supplier, because then, probably there could be some instances or chances that that you are so integrate. You mean what you are supplying to? Oh, sorry, what you are getting from our supplier, you are so integrate to them in terms of you are very important to them. That might be opening a chance that a strategic alliance, with your supplier, that kind of like instances. Basically what I'm saying here is like, the supplier could be then just taking up a stake, in your company or whatnot, so that then, naturally because of this relationship, you would just have better terms, and of course, in terms of the support from a supplier, and of course enable you to be able to weather through, whatever situation we might face in the future. Well, not to mention, of course, then if you are able to actually strike a strategic alliance with certain supplier that's only them, they are the only one that can supplying certain goods. You basically rest assured that your business will be actually protected, or in that kind of in that sense. So that is what I would like to share with the business owner to open up, or with this possibility, by actually having a strategic partner with you for that matter.
That means it's the same method you have done to your employee, strategic partnership with your employee as well. I think we should go for the questions in the chat box. what can we do to make our business model or business more recession proof, or resilience in future crises? So what can we do? So anyone want to answer these questions?
Maybe Mr. Kong, I give it a try.
Okay, please.
For this question, because I think it's relevant to me, I mean to PKT, because in fact, that is what we have gone through during one of our discussions or brainstorming session, during the pandemic time in May 2020, whereby, of course, we also affected, due to certain of our logistic customer not able to operate, during the period, and we, of course, face this what I call that a lower revenue, of course, then lower profitability and kind of situation. So we come to think of it as like, what we can do in order to prepare ourselves better when we come to the next crisis. So, of course, I think one of the important point that we pick up, of course, is the diversifications we are talking about here. Well, we have few diversification that we identified. The very first come to our mind one would be then the product diversifications. So what we say about the product here is basically got to do with our clientele, because then before, our clientele was actually focused on the quite heavy on one particular industry. So after which then now we actually wanted to expand, our clientele to have other industry as well. In fact, then I think the very first one that we were diversified was then to go into education business. Then of course we wanted to cover more segment, as proved during this recession. Those F&B, FMCG segment are pretty resilient in that sense. So then, we would like then, of course, to have this customer in our organizations, to support us or to prepare us. So that is the first one. Well, the other one that you can come to picture, of course, then just now we talk about the digitalization, because, if you're not able to do offline, you always can do online reach out to your customer, so that then you can continue generate income and of course cash flow to your business. By having this approach, that also will open up your geographical diversification, because then probably now you only focus in the Malaysian market. But then, by having that digitalization tool, you'll be able to actually expose yourself and in terms of a regional, let's say, for our case, it will be in the Asian market. So we would like to actually expand regionally, so that then, again, to actually reduce the dependence on the single market. So that would be the actually key takeaway, in terms of how to build a resilience company. Of course, I think not to forget, I strongly actually encourage all the business owner out there to actually start looking, at the cash flow statement, because then this statement actually will tell you quite a lot of messages that you need to take note. And if there is this resources available, or even if you don't have, you can always, I think, approach CMC for this this assistance to building up the budgets. I personally, I think that the budget is very important to every single business, because they let you able to actually identify, where could go wrong for a particular business, because then you could have a situation whereby you have a very good revenue, a very good profit, but then there's no cash flow to the business. So then you will need to go back into your budget to compare against what's actually happened, in order for you to rectify the situation, and of course then be able to improve it, and of course sail through the next crisis also. So that would be my major.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pang, because we are running short of time. There's another question. I think CGC and RHP got to answer this question. You're asking CGC or RHP prepare to guide or to partner your SME clients in the digital transformations. They mean in a going concern basis. I think CGC, Ms. Sharifah, would you like to answer these questions, please?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. It's actually we do have the continuous actually program to our customers, yeah, but the thing is that we only open this session to our CGC customer only. So this is actually part of the program under our CGC developmental program. So it started in 2016 actually, yeah. From 2016 until now we already conducted about 7,453 SMEs who actually participate in our advisory workshop. This workshop itself for this year, as at June, we have done about 14 workshops so far. Yeah, so the topics that normally we covered, of course, digital marketing in terms of branding, business expansion, and financial literacy. So how we do this? Actually, we do it in the monthly basis. So every month we will open up, okay, to our customers who want to join the session, so they have to register. So we also partner with all these, the specialists or the speakers that are expert in their field, actually to give talk or guidance. And we also have a program we call it's as a RISE program. So where we will monitor our customers' progress in 2 years' time. So far from the previous record, 22% of our customer who enroll in this program has shown a sales increase. Yeah, sales increase, and 25% of them actually shows that their sales and employee increase, meaning that they have a greater expansion. Whereas another 30% status quo. So that's will be the handhold done by the CGC to its customer, because all these customer they are mostly a startup business. So they actually need, more guidance actually from our developmental program.
Thank you. So, Mr. Sim, you have anything on that?
Yeah, so I mean, we do not have a program at large for SME, but we are actually currently collaborating with a education institution, right, to provide upskilling, for budding entrepreneurs in the B40 segment, right? To help them, to upskill. I mean, these are segments which are, relatively have the lack of opportunity, right, to actually learn and actually upskill themselves, right, and to ensure that they have a better chance to survive and succeed in their business. For the other SME at large, what the solution that we have are more solution centric, right? So we will probably introduce them some of the digital solutions that the bank have, or that we partner with our partners, right, that can help the customer, to transform their business to be more efficient and cost effective, right? So these are more kind of like solution driven kind of like transformation for our SME customer. But both for the less the lower income tier B40 entrepreneurs, micro businesses, we will be coming out with a specific training program for them. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your response. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are close to the end of our sessions. I think that's all the times that we have together this afternoon. We have discussed a lot about the building our business resilient in this afternoon. Do check out all these fabulous ideas that put forward by our distinguished panelists, Mr. Pang, Mr. Sim, Ms. Sharifah. Thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you will gain a lot of this, some inspirations for things that you can do to continue to grow your business. Thank you for your attention. Now I hand over to our MC.
Thank you, Mr. Koong, and also thank you to all the panelists for such an insightful sharing session. That was a lot of things to pack into that period, but I think they did a very, very good job of not only dissecting all of the issues, but also presenting new ideas for all of us to think about and hopefully implement in our businesses at home. A huge thank you to Mr. Koong, Puan Sharifah, and Pang and Sim for that great and meaningful discussion. And as we are coming to the end of the webinar, we would like to inform you that our next SOBA Lab is happening on August 18, 2022 from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. You may scan the QR code on the screen now to register, this one to register. Furthermore, Star Outstanding Business Award submission is open now, and the submission deadline is the 11th of November 2022. And to learn more about the SOBA online application, you may scan the QR code on the top right all the way over there of the screen, or you can visit www.soba.com.my. I'm signing out now, but this page will remain live to guide all of those who are interested for the SOBA online entries. And if you have any questions on our SOBA application, you may email us at sobar@thestar.com.my. Our SOBA help desk team is ready to answer all your queries. But before you leave, please do spend a couple of minutes to complete the poll. Your feedback does mean a lot to us as we continue to provide you with the best experience at all of our future events. Thank you. My name is Myra Bayati, and see you again.